Hello and welcome to the flagship show edition of the Blue Monday podcast, a 3 times weekly show looking into all things Ipswich Town. I'm your host, Richard Woodward, and I'm delighted to welcome back Ipswich Town aficionados, David Diamond and Joe Fairs. Gentlemen, it's been another fun weekend and I've given you permission to rant and moan and go crazy today, so you're off the chain. How are you doing firstly? Joe, you doing alright?
Yeah, no, I'm doing good.
Dave, you ready?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I was just thinking about you, Rich, and actually with a sort of bit of a Mick McCarthy analogy. Because, Mick McCarthy sort of last year, previous seasons, used to go, bloody championship, Tuesday, Saturday. You're like, bloody podcast, Thursday, Sunday.
I'm ever present, and someone tweeted.
You're never off.
There's a Twitter question saying, "Oh, will we ever see Ben on the flagship show again?" And we must say that Ben is moving house the last few weeks, and I don't think he's got any internet. But I was really close to tweeting a GIF file of the guy from Captain Phillips, is it, where he says, "I'm the captain now," and it feels like that. It's not a coup. Ben will be back for Leeds, I'm sure, unless BT screw him over.
I think more of a first for you, Rich. You did the treble. You also had a very brief appearance on the History Show on Friday evening. I mean, it's just your podcast's mad.
I interfered. I need to get a hobby, don't I, guys? This is maybe I should get into football or something. I know.
Tell you what, anything but Ipswich Town, I would suggest.
Oh.
You can be like Ben and just go round watching actual decent games of Championship football. That's why he's not on at the moment.
Yeah, I need to go find proper games, don't I? Yeah.
Incident-packed games of football. Yeah.
I mean, must say that this week in ITF history, excellent. I mean, an epic. It was almost as long as Avengers Endgame, which...
To be fair, we do tend to go off on a tangent, though, don't we?
No, it's brilliant.
I mean, it goes... just no one knows wherever it's going to go. We had a fair bit of stats honeymoon in there, didn't we? A little bit of Kylie Minogue. She popped up. I mean, it's just...
She popped up. David Johnson shorts made a weird appearance. David Johnson
shorts. Oh, God. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
it was good fun, though.
Heartily recommend that. Joe, you're getting over a Peppa Pig extravaganza yesterday. Anything you want to update us on that?
That was today when I was getting all these messages about the Leeds Villa game, and Mrs. Rabbit had just gone to the TV production studios or the strawberry picking farm or some other such excitement at Peppa Pig Wonderland at the cinema today.
To be honest, yes, if had it been yesterday, I think I'd have rather been watching Peppa Pig than the game on at 5:15.
Appreciate that. If only I knew more about Peppa Pig, I could make a pun or some kind of joke about that. But I don't. But we're catering for all kind of audiences. We've got the ICFC issue, we've got Peppa Pig World, and everything in between. Let's start with the news, gents. A couple of bits and pieces on under-18s and under-23s. We build the under-18s game last weekend on the preview show as well, but unfortunately they went down 1-0 to Sheffield Wednesday yesterday. Under 23s have their playoff game. Is it a semi-final or a final, Joe?
This is semi-final against Birmingham.
Tuesday night.
Portman Road on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. kickoff.
Was yesterday's the first leg, or is that one-off game?
That's a one-off. So Sheffield Wednesday, who won the Northern League, faced Cardiff, who won the Southern League and beat Leeds in their playoffs. So it's Cardiff in the final.
I think there was quite a few fans that doubled up as well, wasn't there? If I say quite a few, I saw some Facebook posts and stuff. One or two went up for that Hillsborough and did the double, as it were.
The first team were all there, Lambert and all the staff and all the first team players went along.
Oh, nice one. That's very good.
Which is really good.
Yeah, no, that is good. Yeah.
But Joe, I guess the question that people will be asking or thinking maybe is how do we translate that success for under 18 and under 23 level through to the first team? Is it a matter of timing or is it a philosophy? Any kind of thoughts on that?
Well, it is a philosophy. The way they play is sort of quick passing football, and that is what you've got to try and do. But the under 18s there's a big leap between that and the 23s, and then there's an even bigger leap between the 23s and the first team. So it is really about getting players through rather than results. But I've never known a team with good players in that doesn't get results. So they sort of go hand in hand. But I think there's going to be a number of these boys are going to be playing a big part in the squad next year in the under 23s, and the ones that are half in and out of the squad at the moment, you sort of Idris El Mazounis and Barry Cotters, potentially players like that.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully so, yeah. Well, and that's what Town fans want, really. And a league below, League One, there's maybe less pressure on the academy players as well. You'd expect to see a lot more of them. So, fingers crossed that pays dividends for us next season. But nevertheless, a really good achievement for Gerard Nash and the guys there. Who's responsible for the under-18s? Is it Dyer and
Adam Ate? Adam Ate is his assistant.
Cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, get along to Portman Road on Tuesday night if you can. I assume it'll be on Facebook because they usually put it on, so worth watch there. So the bits of random news to catch everyone up on. Danny Rowe, Dave, who I know we've kind of fans of Danny Rowe. Don't really think he's been given a chance. He was asked whether he will be at Lincoln City next season. He's been there on loan, playing as a number 10, Joe, you said, rather than out wide as a winger.
They're sort of playing a 4-4-1-1, and he plays off the main striker, floating around in the middle of the pitch.
But he reckons that Ipswich will want him back next season. Is that a good thing, Dave? Is he the kind of...
I hope so. I don't think he ever got a fair crack. And again, was Danny Rowe, I can't really remember, when he first joined, did he then pick up an injury? I think perhaps he did early days. I don't think he's really ever had a fair crack. Well, he came back for that Preston game, didn't he? Had that he came on a sub and had that unbelievable volley, didn't he? That Gallagher somehow thrust out a paw. And this sums up our season, doesn't it? Would have been a world. And the centre forward in goal thrust out a paw and palmed it over the bar, for Christ's sake. So if that goes in, who knows? He could be up and running. You just don't know. And then he was obviously farmed out to Lincoln. And I think Joe, he's been virtually ever present and done quite well, hasn't he? There. Scored 4 or 5 goals, I think.
Yeah, and they've won the league by a street as well, haven't they? So
perhaps a bit easier for him going into a side with momentum. But yeah, I like him. I think he's quite direct, and I quite like. He's been playing this 10 role, but when I've seen him play, he plays this wide right role, but he's predominantly left footed, and I quite like that. He cuts inside. Yeah, you would think they would have a long look at him, and hopefully, if he shows, would get a chance in League One. I would have thought.
Whenever I've seen him play, he's always made something happen.
Yeah,
maybe off the ball he doesn't do enough for some managers, but when you look at the role Jack Lancaster was playing here, when Lambert just basically said, "You play up on the right, don't worry too much about defending, but we want to get you on the ball and making stuff happen." Well, if Rose and Lancaster are sort of in and out on that same role, playing on the right, cutting in on their left foot, which both of them do, then maybe there'll be a good pairing to sort of rotate through the season.
Yeah, I'd have that, because you can't expect, again, Lancaster, I think he'll be given a fair crack, you'd think, when he gets back. You can't expect him, as Joe said, to play 30, 40 games next year. You just, on a 18, 19-year-old, it just won't happen, I don't think.
Any possibility of us cashing in on him if Lincoln are interested? We won't get much, will we?
Well, I'm sure it's always a chance, isn't it?
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. But look, I just hope we take Lambert and whoever takes a good look at him, and
give him a pre-season. It's an area of the pitch where we don't have a huge amount of options, as yesterday was evidence for. So we'll see. But
if he was here, he'd be starting.
Absolutely right.
So. Yeah.
Great shout, Joe. Finally, on the news, interesting to get your thoughts respectively on this one as well. Sheff Utd's been doing the rounds in the media this week. He turned up at TalkSport earlier in the week and said he still has an ambition to manage Ipswich Town one day. Any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on whether that's a fit or not, Joe?
Well, from his managerial career so far, I wouldn't say so. I like the guy, but he's got to. At the end of the day, we're still a big club in English football, and he's got to prove he's capable of doing the job here. He's got to come in the English leagues and have some success, or have mega success abroad. And until he does that, it's not really a question, is it?
No, I agree. Yeah, he's got to have some sort of CV behind him on management front, hasn't he? But yeah, obviously very well liked and an Ipswich legend, and always will be. But yeah, I think it takes a little bit more than that to step into the management position. Yeah, Joe.
If we were to stagnate in League One next season and Lambert was got rid of, would you not give him a punt, or is it too much of a gamble, do you think?
You've got to try and get up, don't you? And you need someone who has done it.
Yep.
Okay.
Agreed. Yep.
Sorry, Shefke, we've killed your management dream.
I'd have him back playing up front, though.
Yeah, could do a job, couldn't he?
Without a doubt.
He'd have won more headers than Alan Judge up front in the second half yesterday.
It's true.
Jackson's the one I felt sorry for. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to Sheffield United then, because I feel like you guys are ready to go and rip this performance apart. It's worth saying straight off the bat that we're not going to do the kind of well, I've got kind of the key moments of the game, but I'm not going to go through this one in detail because it was on the telly. We don't want to go back through it again. Let's quickly do the lineups So Sheffield United, their usual kind of 3-4-3 with one of the front three just dropping in behind. So Henderson in goal, Basham favoured over Craney at centre back, Egan the Rock in the middle, and O'Connell, who would have a very good game yesterday, making up the back three. Baldock, Norwood, Fleck, Stevens making up the midfield three, and it's Duffy who sat in just behind David McGoldrick and Scott Hogan up front. Ipswich, so depending on what time in the day you looked at the lineups on the pitch, it was either a midfield diamond according to the club an hour before kickoff. Sky said just before kickoff it was a 4-5-1, but the pictures that we saw on the telly had Ipswich in a back three, back five configuration, with Gherkin in goal, Chambers, Scouse and Enciala the back three, with Bree, Bishop, Downs, Kenlock across midfield, with Judge. If you're going to argue that we're matching up with Sheffield United, I guess Judge is behind Jackson and Keane. Gentlemen, your thoughts on that lineup, and any shocks or surprises that we matched up with Sheffield United, or is it needs must in that kind of situation?
I think for me, right from the start, it's just so narrow. Knowing how Sheffield United play with the two wide players and then another two wide players with the centre backs, which is so narrow, wasn't it? So narrow.
Joe?
Yeah, I thought if we were going to be playing with that diamond, I thought, well, we're sort of trying to be so narrow that we can try and dominate the middle of the pitch while they out wide, and we just have a battle against them as a tactic. But I can understand why you match up against them, because they're such a unique and difficult side to play that whenever I watch them, they're brilliant, and I struggle to know what. I don't think anyone's managed to stop them playing how they play at the moment. They've lost some games, they've had a couple of bad runs, but I don't think anyone's found a way to stop this marauding centre-back tactic.
Yeah, it was Basham and O'Connell, more on the latter, that bombed forward, and we certainly did that. Although Chambers, actually, to be fair to him, Chambers got forward quite a bit. But Scouse was the kind of the sitter of the three, wasn't he? I'll come back and get your opinions on Scouse, whether he's got a future in centre-back, because I thought he was probably one of our better players.
As a libero.
Say again, Joe?
As a libero.
Oh, is that a niche football reference that's going over my head?
Libero.
That's a position. Oh, it's Football Manager stuff, isn't it?
Libero. Someone did compare him. I think did Ben post something about perhaps you can see him in League One playing the Glenn Hoddle Swindon role,
or like Mateus Sammer.
Nice. Yeah.
Sort of pinging, just getting the ball down, chesting it down, killing it, and pinging a 40-yard ball here, there, and everywhere, left foot, right foot.
Well, without being funny, when Hirsch took over in pre-season, he was trying to bring this tactic in, which was like 4-1-4-1. How it was working was when we got the ball, Scouse was dropping in the centre-backs, two centre-backs were splitting wide, and the full-backs were getting past the wingers, and Scouse was sitting back there just sort of pinging crossfield balls to the attacking full-backs and wingers, and he was playing really well there, but like I say, Hirsch never had the sort of bottle or ability to play that formation in a league game. We never actually got into that.
Right.
No.
It might be an option, and maybe we'll see it again against Leeds next week, or maybe not. Let's get into it very quickly and get this over and done with as quickly as possible. It's a fast start from Sheffield United. It's relentless, isn't it? McGoldrick has a sight really early on, cross flashes across, and he's kind of got a weird position. He tries to volley it when maybe he could stoop a header at that one, and it's 1-0 after 3 minutes, but fortunately we survive. But yet again, 5 minutes, Keane is off injured, and Chalobah comes on. And it's just these injuries, David, just
a joke,
ruining our season.
I think that was a weird one, because it was one. I think the ball went across the Kenlock and he hooked it on in the air, miskicked it right foot in the air, and it dropped, and it looked so innocuous. I mean, Keane was challenging. I think it could have been Basham or Baldock. I can't remember who. It just seemed to turn, and the play moved on, and then all of a sudden, obviously the play moves on, the camera moves on, and the Sky commentator's saying, it seems a problem with Keane, and clearly, right away you see the physio comes on and he's done his hamstring. Whether it's the same one, I don't know. I think Lambert said it possibly is, but not as serious. But it's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
And that's probably the last we'll see of him. And I guess there's quite a lot of people clamouring for him to sign, but these injuries are a real. If he's going to be one of our top earners, it's a gamble, isn't it?
Can't risk it, in my opinion.
Well, the big issue we've got is that Sears, Morris and Falami are all out probably until Christmas, that we can't afford to bring in lots of strikers because we've got 3 first team strikers now, effectively injured.
Yeah.
And so you can't. So the ones you do bring in are going to need to be durable, aren't they? And
yeah, you can't.
I don't know. I like Will Keane a lot, but
so do I.
So I think it might be too big a risk. I'd still take it personally because I think he's got quality, but I don't know. I don't think we'll sign him now.
I'm not sure we will.
No. Moving forward to the 25th minute, Bishop gets the chance, so he drops his shoulder, cuts into the penalty area. It's a low shot that's just, I think it's just wide, isn't it?
Downs. That was Downs.
Was it Downs? I thought it was Bishop.
Yeah.
Downs put the one wide.
Apologies. But a minute later, Sheffield United would score. We talked about the marauding centre-backs. We talked about O'Connell. He gets in past, I think it is Bishop this time, isn't it? Who goes to sleep. And Gents, a pretty easy finish, but a nice finish nonetheless.
It's a good goal. It's a good goal. It was a first phase of play. It's just quickly. It's a first phase of play here where Kenlock gets fouled. He certainly gets fouled up the pitch, and the ball breaks. I think the ball-up charges through. It's not properly cleared. Then we get possession, and this is a bizarre thing. I was watching this morning. The ball's knocked to Judge. Judge has got a lot of time on the ball. His players in front of him. He's got a lot of time on the ball. Why would Alan Judge, right, getting towards halfway in our own half, then put his foot on the ball, look around, and pass it back to Chambers? Why?
Yeah.
So he passes it back to Chambers. What does Chambers do? Plays a crossfield ball to Chalabar, who's on his heels. He's not concentrating. Ball gets nicked, and that's when it all starts. And then, of course, it goes to Norwood, who does spread the play, finds Stevens. But then on, it's a bit of a car crash. But I feel a bit sorry. It's a lovely goal, and at the end, it's a beautifully worked goal. In the end, a bit of criticism on Bishop, who gets done ball watching, and he does fall asleep. But it's a really well crafted goal. But the end bit of it's a lovely goal, great crossing. All Hogan's got to do is get something on it, which he does, and it's a perfect finish, inside the far post. But you have to look at the phases of play before that, and it's poor again.
Yeah, I don't understand. It happened a number of times yesterday where Judge just held onto the ball. Surely our tactic was to try and play balls over the top for Jackson,
corner.
Pressure on their defenders.
Jackson,
he's got pace to burn, and that was especially once Keane had gone off. That was all we could do. Try and get him to turn the defence and maybe win a throw-in or a corner down
you watch
end.
that. He's got so much time, and he looks around. So his best option, how can he think as his best option is putting his foot on the ball and roll it 10 yards back to Chambers?
There was quite a lot of that in the first half, where our players end up in space, and Chambers did this a lot. I mean, there was a lot of criticism on Twitter, particularly during the game of Chambers' performance. It wasn't a good one, was it? But he found time and space. I think Chalobah similar, and the option that they took was always the worst one, or it was really poorly executed pass. And I guess my question is this players doing stuff they're not able to do? Chambers is a defender, he's a stopper. He's not a ball playing, and Chalobah should do better. But he's got maybe a bit of in his head that sometimes he tries to do something too clever. But is this confidence, gents, or is this just people being stupid? Or
I thought right the way through
down?
The game yesterday, our passing there was just no conviction in our passing at all. You just knew it. There was 3, 4, 5 passes, none of them no penetrating passes at all, square or back. And you just knew that, in a minute someone's going to play perhaps a little bit of a mistimed pass, going to put someone in trouble. We're going to lose possession every single time.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah,
no conviction, no confidence.
No, when a good side has possession of the ball, you feel like they're in control and they're looking to hurt you. When we've got the ball, I'm more worried about them scoring than us scoring. When they've got the ball, they're more likely to score when we've got it than we are, because especially once it starts passing around, and like Chambers had a sort of an awful opening 15 minutes. I thought he got better after that, but Chalobah was dreadful. His personal game, he just did not get going at all. And he's supposed to be the guy ticking things over. And he, at one point, after about 70 minutes, he had a sort of less than 50% pass completion from the centre of midfield. As a holding midfielder, when you got the most time on the ball, he wasn't completing his passes at all.
How often this season has this happened where Town have their perhaps best passage of play, which it probably was for the 5-10 minutes, which sort of stabilised after the initial onslaught, and they said on Sky, we're getting a foothold in the game, and we weren't creating. All right, we had the down scuff shot, we weren't creating chances, but we were keeping possession to a fashion, and they weren't really threatening. How many times this season is that we think, okay, I can see we're gaining some momentum here, we're getting on top, and we then the other side, the opposition broken away and scored countless times.
It's like they just start to relax a little bit, isn't it?
I think it is. They just switch off a bit and think, it's easier than we thought. Very casual. Yeah.
And the concern is, how do you eradicate that? And I mean, the summer can't come quick enough. We need. There's a few questions about this, but we desperately need to certainly rip the squad apart a little bit. There's a lot of players out of contract, but there's this mindset there as well that we're a bit comfortable, low confidence.
You can only eradicate that by starting winning football matches again, start winning games again. It's the only way you're going to eradicate that. Confidence, and they're shot. The confidence is totally shot, but I still think there's no excuse for just general sloppiness. It was crap yesterday, and we expect it on Sky. Time and time again on Sky. I know. All right, we didn't expect perhaps anything yesterday, but we are just so poor, so poor.
Yep.
Well, like I say, the game yesterday looked like what it was: a Premier League team against a League One team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely fair.
And I think it really dawned on me yesterday. I don't know. We're on against Brentford the other week and didn't really show much, but I think it finally dawned on me yesterday just really how poor we are, and that was pretty bad stuff yesterday.
And you look at that Sheff United team, and I know they had a good season last year, but you look at the players in it, and sort of not to sort of say they're not very good players. A lot of those guys were with them in League One, and
5 players.
Stevens come from Portsmouth, and none
5
of them
players.
Like John Egan was a big money signing at the back. And then obviously David McGoldrick's done well, but the rest of that team,
Norwood's good sign.
They're not.
Norwood.
Yeah, Norwood's actually is very good.
The spine of the team again. If you look at that.
But
I think it was 5 players.
None of them are sort of players that have been highly touted that you think, well, yeah, they can play this good football because they've come through these top academies and they're good technical players. They're not. They're sort of very English team, and a lot of players that have played a lot of lower league football, and they pass the ball around and press and get on the ball and use it in tight spaces. Like we made them look like Barcelona at times.
This is some of the parts, though, Joe. It's what they've got. It's that team ethic, that confidence, team ethic, winning mentality.
All comes from the manager as well.
Until you have any of that.
No. I'm sort of not trying to criticise. I think they're a very good side, but a lot of these players. A lot of these players, they're playing really good technical football, but they're not players you'd say are really good technical footballers. Otherwise, they'd have come up through the leagues a lot quicker than they did.
Yep. No, I mean,
there were times yesterday when you saw McGold. I mean, that ball in the first half, the ball lock. For Christ's sake. My God, so good.
And confidence is a factor as well, isn't it?
It's massive. Momentum.
Two teams with totally different things to play for as well.
Winning mentality versus... Well, yeah, what it is, because it is losing mentality. Exactly what it is.
Because that team, like Sheff United, I know we are the worst team in the league, so it is an easy game. But that's not an easy game on paper. You've got to win to go up. You've got the worst team come to face you. Every single person watching that thinks you're just going to roll them over, and you've got to get out there and do it. And that could have been a nervy game for them. And they came out first. They came out in the first minute and just bombarded us and didn't stop until they scored. And
we're a soft touch. Touch.
This phrase is coming out now. Along come Ipswich. We talked about it for Preston, Swansea as well, and they're crazy away form. We're a bit of a laughing stock at the moment, aren't we? And as I say, the end of the season can't come quick enough. Let's finish off Sheff United, because I feel there's more rants in this, gents, and I just want to get all the business of Sheff United fixture done, and then we can concentrate on just slagging off everyone and calling out Marcus Edwards. Half time comes into the second half. Norwood hits the post. Great free kick. Norwood, quality player, isn't he, Dave?
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
big fan of Norwood.
He is, yeah. Although Ben made a good point, he's very good. His shooting's not brilliant. I mean, dead ball is pretty decent, but I think Ben made a point last night on his review show that his long range shooting isn't perhaps what it should be. But when he can pass like that and take sort of free kicks and dead balls like he does, I don't think you'd worry too much about that.
I think he scored a couple of long ranges in his history.
Another promotion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Another
incredible,
promotion.
Isn't it? Was it Brighton, Fulham? Amazing. Yeah,
I think there's
3 and 3
another one
seasons.
as well before then.
Was there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You carry on talking.
Who? Sorry.
Huddersfield.
Yeah, possibly.
Was he there?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure. I think he was Brighton, wasn't he? He was Brighton.
Yeah, Fulham
last
certainly.
Certainly Fulham last season, wasn't he?
There's one for the CV game, Joe. We'll lob him in the CV game next season.
Yeah, so basically he was at Huddersfield, got promoted, had a year at Reading, didn't get promoted, was at Brighton, got promoted, Fulham got promoted, Sheff United got promoted.
Wow. It's like the opposite of Herman Horizon.
Yeah, for League One.
Yeah.
68 minutes, Jackson hobbles off injured and is replaced by Andre Dazelle. At the same time, Sheffield United bring on Billy Sharp. So that kind of tells you the qualities of those squad. And Jackson, that looked like an injury, didn't it, gents? Is that?
Well, he was having treatment a few minutes beforehand, wasn't he? And
I think, didn't Lambert say afterwards that perhaps it was more of a protection thing, because literally we haven't got any fit strikers for the last game.
Yeah,
it would appear almost.
So he went into the kind of 5-5 formation to finish the game off. And then 71 minutes, flex corner. O'Connell pretty much unmarked, and it's a pretty straightforward headed corner goal, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah. Gherkin is probably fouled in the warm-up, but he's far too weak.
It's got to be better than that.
I think you'd normally expect the ref to give it, but you can't go down under that little contact. And where was he going anyway? He was going the wrong side of the ball anyway. It was probably going to go over if he got there, but it's almost like he played for the foul, a little bit like the QPR corner where Freeman scored over his head. It's like he plays for a free kick, and it's like you can't really do that if you're a goalie, because if you're not a midfielder on halfway, if you don't get it, you concede a goal. But I don't know.
And again,
zonal marking as well, which I'm not always a fan of. And when you've got Teddy Bishop going up against Jack O'Connell, you know you're in trouble.
Well, no, I went with him. You watch that. You watch when Fleck takes a corner, O'Connell's about 30 yards out, and just as Fleck takes a corner, you watch that, O'Connell just lopes and saunters into the box, jogs into the box, and he's perfectly there to meet the corner. No one picks him up.
Ben mentioned on his video that he thinks it's sort of like a deliberate ploy, that he was fiddling around with a water bottle on the side of the pitch while the corner was being ready to be taken, and then he sort of sloped on, and then he thinks it might be a deliberate ploy.
So, yeah, well, I don't know where to go from that, gents. Apart from it was to be expected and probably deserved. Let's finish off the game, shall we? McGoldrick gets a standing ovation, 78. He's subbed for Gary Medine, another example of the strength and depth the teams at the top half have in comparison to us. And on 89 minutes, Alan Judge has a shot on target. And it was tipped over by Henderson, although pretty comfortable. And that's the match. In terms of key events, what I've left out is Sheffield United having a chance pretty much every other minute. And Ipswich being pretty incapable, and it's another defeat. Our away record of no clean... Is it? Remind me, Dave, on this one. What's that, Dave? We failed. No clean sheets away from home all season.
Yeah, do you know who the only other team in English football with that same record is this year?
It's staggering, isn't it? Arsenal.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. It's nice to have something in comparison to Arsenal,
Yeah, probably could think of something, a few better things to have in common, but yeah, if we got to have something.
But I guess the sad thing is, gents, and I tweeted something yesterday afternoon actually, when was the last time we turned up at a game where we were considerable underdogs and turned the odds in our favour with the 20-1 odds? The bookies generally aren't wrong anymore, are they, when it comes to us? It was just a pretty lax performance, not helped by injuries again, but utterly predictable, and I guess that's the sad thing now, isn't it?
That's the sad thing for me. It is so predictable. Ben said, I think, in the week, oh look, here we go, incoming 2-0 defeat, and well, yeah, I mean, it should have been a lot more than 2-0, let's face it, but yeah, it was so predictable. I think that's the most disappointing thing, because as a supporter, in the back of your mind, you think, oh yeah, but if this goes away and this, we get a hold of the midfield and stop them marauding centre backs, we could be all right. We could nick a point here or something like that. As we were, against West Brom away, Bristol City away. Probably, we said before, could have probably won both those games. But again, did we have at the time more of a sort of settled side again? Yesterday, another 4 changes,
and a change of formation. Yep.
And a change of formation again. It's as you say, probably is. He's treating this almost as a pre-season.
And Lambert says that we showed character and determination, I guess, to keep ourselves in the match in terms of the scoreline. Certainly not in terms of the stats. Joe, any thoughts on whether these are Lambert's just using these games to experiment now?
Well, he's definitely using them to experiment. I think we did keep going yesterday, but we kept doing the same things, but we're doing them wrong. But we didn't just chuck the towel, and the players were still trying and things like that. But I'm a bit frustrated with Lambert over the last few games about how this sort of pre-season that Dave is talking about, I think he's wasting it at the moment. Up until for both managers this season, the whole game has been the one that sort of said a lot. The first one after the international break for Hurst came back, and we looked absolutely dog shit, and I thought we're in big trouble here. And then this time, the whole game at home, we were on that good run of draws. I know still not wins, but West Brom, Bristol City, we'd gone away, we played well, we could have won
Derby.
2 games against top 6 sides, Derby at home, and then we were dreadful at Hull, and we haven't really recovered since then. And it's just been so haphazard since then. It's just been so many changes, players out of position, no continuity. And it's like, well, what is he trying to learn at the moment? Is he just trying to have a look at players individually, or why are we not working on what we want to be next season? I know there's an issue that we are short of bodies, especially in attacking positions, but I know I've just been really disappointed in the last few games how little progress, or how far backwards I should say, we've gone from a very low base as it was.
I mean, do you think that's also going to cost us with regard to potential season tickets and stuff? What's happened these last 3 games, or will people perhaps like we are taking it for what it is?
It's certainly not going to help, is it? I don't.
No.
It seems that people are buying into what Lambert is saying off the pitch, rather than on the pitch at the moment. And it does seem the season ticket sales are going well, but the club would have loved us to get a good win, especially the home game against Swansea on the Monday. If we'd have picked up a point at Preston, beaten Swansea at home, and put in a spirited defeat there, you'd think that could have been a difference between hitting that first target or not.
Because again, no goals scored, 3 games, no goals.
Yeah.
I mean,
barely a shot.
In terms of
yesterday,
the season,
I think yesterday, guys, just the lack of quality, I think, showed yesterday.
Yeah.
Absolute lack of quality.
And doing the basics as well, isn't it? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's picking a pass, people
and that doesn't
making clever
necessarily
runs.
need quality. You know, he should be capable of that. But
I was getting
sloppy.
I was getting so frustrated yesterday with the sort of just the poor touches, the poor passes, playing the ball 2 yards behind people. There must have been 3 or 4 times when we just passed the ball straight out for a throw in, and just sort of good players, your Alan Judges and your Trevor Chalobahs that we've seen and we know that are good footballers, just could not play football yesterday. And I'd appreciate against a side like Sheff Utd, you've got them in your face, and they are a high pressing team, they play at a high intensity, and the game is quick, but the game just looked too fast for our players yesterday, and that is a worry that good players could not put their foot on the ball and slow it down and pick out easy passes.
I think the only ones for me to come out with any credit, I thought yesterday, I thought Skews, to be fair, as if we say we call him emergency centre back, whatever we call him, I thought he did well. Really. I don't think he's the answer long term, but I thought he did pretty well. And I've got to say, won his fair share in the air as well. He's decent in the air, Skews. I thought he did well, and of course, used his experience, used his head. Never really got caught, pace wise, one on one or anything. Used his head really well. I thought Bishop again at times showed what he's good at, driving, especially when we had a good spell in the first half. And I thought Downs was okay yesterday. I thought Downs did okay. Wasn't, because big physical side, and there were times when perhaps he had a loose touch. You thought, Christ, he's losing the ball, but no, showed his strength, won the ball back, and was able to lay it off. So I think those 3 for me were the ones that came out with a little bit of credit yesterday.
Thoughts on Enciala?
Yeah, he did. I like Enciala because I like watching him because he's a throwback. I mean, he's got a mistake in him, but I like him. I just like, and again, there were times he got caught out, but his powers of recovery are good. He's quite quick and he's strong, and he got back in. But yeah, we all know he's got a ricket in him every single game. But I don't necessarily mind that. But I thought the fullbacks, Bree was awful yesterday. I thought Kenlock, not really yesterday. I know it's difficult for them because sometimes they overload, don't they, in the wide areas. But yeah, for me, I don't know about you, Joe, but for me, I thought, Skews, Bishop and Downs were really the only ones to come out with any credit.
Yeah, I think on the ball, especially those 3 were the only 3 that didn't look like the game was too quick for them when they got the ball. I think Bishop struggled a bit off the ball because there was a lot going on around him, and he was playing a lot deeper than he normally does. But like you're saying, he didn't get much help, and on that first goal, you've got Chambers and Bishop there trying to defend it, and Bishop falls asleep. But where's James Bree in that? Why is he tucked inside?
Yeah.
Why is he not? Why is he not round there helping out Chambers and Bishop? I don't know.
I mean, we need to firstly congratulate Sheff Utd on a well-deserved promotion.
What an achievement! And as Joe said earlier, 5 of those players, I think it was Certainly, was it Duff? I think Fleck, obviously Sharp, and was it Basham? I think, and one more played in Wilder's first game, as Joe was saying, back in August, and probably Bulldog August 2016. So yeah, fantastic, and that just shows, the core of the side. They sort of stayed there right through, and they're built around that, Yeah,
having come through League One as well.
Brilliant achievement.
I guess that gives
100
people
points
a bit
in League One. 90. They're going to get 90 points in this league, and if they can win the title, that would be a fitting achievement. And I've watched them a number of times. Every time I've watched them, I've been impressed with them. I've really enjoyed watching them this year.
And do you know what's great about it as well? Look at Wilder. He's a supporter. He's a fan. It's just brilliant to see.
Have you seen some of the videos today?
Fantastic, isn't it?
Loving life.
I love how he's spraying the beer over the sky report.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Great achievement. And but just remind me, how long? Let's just put a preface on this. How long were they down in League One for?
They got through a few managers, didn't they?
I think it was 6 seasons.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we've got plenty of questions on that now, don't worry.
Let's move on.
Yeah, I need to try and find a positive to end on, but it's going to be a struggle. The questions are of a similar flavour, gentlemen, so I wasn't going to drill in too much. But let's go through these now. Jonathan Cook, learnings from Sheffield United. Manager is crucial. He still thinks Paul Lambert could be the right man. His initials have the right ring to them. But will he get the support to start the rebuild? If so, it could be a journey that everyone could get behind. Joe, your thoughts on whether Lambert's the right man in League One and whether he's going to get the support to the rebuild that I think we all agree is necessary?
Asked me a few weeks ago and I'd have said yes. I'm sort of a little bit more on the fence at the moment. He's got to be given that chance in League One next year because he has been working towards that for a long time. I think what Wilder has done in reinvigorating the Sheffield United fan base, Lambert has done that with our fan base, and he is. If we could be half as good on the pitch as he's been off the pitch, we'll walk the league next year. But I just worry that he hasn't found a way to win games. He didn't find a way to win games at Stoke last year, and the way he played, and sort of going back to his days up the road, it was always that sort of two up front, Houlihan in behind, bombarding teams, a lot of late goals, and there's sort of a lot of games when it's sort of like 65, 70 minutes and it would be chuck another striker on, and he went for everything. He really tried to win games. He never seemed a manager that got a lot of draws. So he's got to work out to try and win games again next year, and we'll win more than we lose next year, but will it be enough? I don't know.
The worry is the level of support he'll get in the summer, because we've kind of got the theory that Evans is going to be, the budget is going to be cut anyway. We know that, but he needs support, doesn't he? We need to bring in reinforcements.
Yeah, but we do need reinforcements, but that squad has got enough quality for that league below. You just need to get another striker or two, potentially another centre back and full backs, and you've got I know that sounds a lot, but you've got Bart, who's going to be a top keeper at that level if he can put his head on. Chambers, for all the criticism, the game is a lot slower at that level. He's not going to be caught in behind, and he cannot play right of a back three again, because I mentioned this earlier in the season, he just does not have the legs for that role and was exposed yesterday. Nsiala can play at that level where it's a lot more rough and tumble. You got your Judge, you got your John Nolan, you got your Flynn Downs, your Teddy Bishops, Emir Hughes if he ever is fit. I'd say Harrison's a decent enough striker there. We're going to be down there with a good enough squad to bounce straight back with the right additions, but he's got to get it right on the pitch, and he looks a long way off that at the moment.
So we've got to keep these key players fit, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
We need to keep these players fit. I mean, I know is it conditioning, I know we have conditioning coaches and probably got a conditioning team down there, but if you can't keep your best players on the pitch, you haven't got a chance. You haven't got a hope.
And that's what's cost us the last few seasons as well, particularly this one.
That's been a hell of a factor in the last couple of seasons. And this season as much as any, for Christ's sake. Who would have thought Hughes wouldn't have been, pre-season last year, out since, December 2017, was it? Yeah. Who'd have thought, great, all right, we've got so-and-so in over the summer, Hurst coming in, but he's bringing all these new players in, but we'll have a fit Emir Hughes again. Brilliant, hasn't played.
Is he... Is that an element of the market that we shop in though? That we bring in players which
Yeah,
are
that's the point that was raised in Twitter today.
maybe unable to stay fit, but I don't think a lot of these players are injury prone. When you look at your sort of Tom Adeyemi, who's played 3 games in 2 years, he's a player that's played 30 odd games every year. Emir Hughes came in on loan and played nearly every game for the end of the season. Has played 4 games in 2 years. Teddy Bishop is obviously injury prone, but we didn't sign him. David McGoldrick has gone to there and played every week. So, what is it that we're doing wrong?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one, and people had that conspiracy theory last year, and it doesn't go away, does it? 2 questions of a similar flavour here, Dave. Tony Page, how many years will it take to get back to the Championship? Jeremy Dodd, Sheffield United were in League One for 6 seasons, he confirmed for us, and went through 4 managers, Wilson, Weir, Clough, Adkins, before Wilder. Can you see it taking us that long to come back up?
As it stands, yeah, why not? Yeah, well, certainly can. As it stands, yeah. But look, a lot's going to hinge on obviously pre-season, the transfer window, and as Joe said, the first 10, a dozen games. I think we'll know a lot more. Obviously, we'll know a lot more after that. But yeah, the way the club is now and the situation the club's in now. Wouldn't surprise me if they're down there a good number of seasons. Nothing. There's nothing there at this moment in time to convince me that we're going to bounce straight back. Nothing at all.
It's nervous, and the
longer you're down there, the harder it gets because of the salary caps and things like that. You got a couple of years when you first go down there where you need to get back up in that first couple of years.
Absolutely.
Once you're outside that 2 years, you're then a League One club trying to get out of it, not a Championship club in League One.
Exactly. And it's that winning mentality, is it fostering getting that winning mentality. I mean, Harry made a really good analogy, didn't he? I think on the preview show, did he say about League One's a bit of did he call it a departure lounge?
Waiting room, doctor's waiting room.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh no, it was the because we talked about baggage. We get lost in the baggage.
We saw excess baggage or something. I think we've got a lot of that. Look, nothing. Yeah, like I said. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope there's somehow some inspired signings of people like Hughes get fit and Sears gets fit a bit quicker than normal, quicker than anticipated, and we hit the ground running. And Christ, who knows? It could happen, but nothing to suggest it will.
Joe, a question from Chris Hodges: does Judge drifting around the pitch do more harm than good?
At the moment, for me, yes, it does. He's not doing enough when he's getting on the ball. If you drift around like that, you've got to have that quality when you get it. And as Dave was saying earlier, he didn't have that quality yesterday. And when he's been playing out wide on the left, he drifts so far across that you basically have lost Gwion Edwards as a player who's effectively just trying to play where Judge isn't, and he's not playing his own game and getting into it. So he's cost us that. And I like Judge, but what's he got? 1 assist from a corner. No goals in 15 games, and the last 2 or 3 games he's been poor, and I do worry. I don't know. I don't understand why a player that has had a patchy injury record for the last 2 seasons has come in and played every minute of every game for 3 months now. Why is he the one not getting rested at all?
Point.
Do either of you have the sense that he's calling the shots a little bit? He's obviously probably one of the top earners at the moment, albeit probably with the relegation clause like everyone else has got. But are we trying to accommodate him too much to make him feel like he's an important part of the squad?
I think you've probably. I think you've got something. I think you've got a bit there. Yeah, I'd suggest there's a bit of that.
It wouldn't surprise me that also if Lambert just thinks he's on another level to our players, you've just got to do what you can to get him in there. Because he's signed now. If he hadn't signed, I could understand before the contract was signed why you'd play him every week to give him that confidence. But ultimately, he's got a 2-year deal now. So,
and if we were playing that diamond yesterday, which I don't think we were. Judging that number 10 role behind those 2 strikers actually probably works, doesn't it?
Fantastic. That's where he should be playing. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Absolutely. Do serious damage there. Serious damage.
A question from Maurice Cloud. Great name. Worst case, Skinflint owner paying poor wages and relying on frees, but new striker is urgent. Sentimental year Chambers not matched by performances. Only 2 youngsters good enough or suited to League One. Judge, Nolan, Scoose, okay, but need direction. Now worry about Lambert's tactical now. We've talked a little bit about Evans. Thoughts on this sentimental view of Chambers? It came up quite a lot yesterday, we've alluded to it. Do you think Chambers is okay in a 4 and not in a 3, or is this this general lack of form over the last few weeks is a bit of a concern, isn't it, Dave?
I think it's catching up with him. I mean, what is he, 33 now? Is he something like that? I think it's all catching up with him. I personally don't think he's up to it anymore. And that includes, for me, that includes League One as well. I do appreciate, if we're going to, and I've said before, and we've said before, if we're going to blood youngsters next year, we do need an experienced spine in the team. So I can sort of understand that, but in my opinion, he's not good enough.
Joe, is that anything mental? Do you think he's not taking relegation well?
I think maybe he's definitely taken too much on his shoulders this season, and whether that's affected his form on the pitch, we don't know. I think I'm not quite as strongly as Dave, but he can't play in that free, on the right hand side of that free. There's too much ground to cover, and I commented on a pod earlier in the season. He just does not have the legs to go back there. Who was it? Was it against Reading or someone? And he's just getting caught up against McCleary playing in that free, and he just could not cope at all. But like I said, in a four, I think he can do enough. He can read the game well enough, and he can play well enough. I think, especially in League One, where it is a little bit more backs to wall defending, and the defenders have sort of less need for quality on the ball. But I know you'd hope if we're in League One for the next 2 seasons of Chambers' contract, you'd hope it's sort of 30 to 35 games next year, 10 to 15 a year after, and then draw it off there.
Yeah. Okay. Kevy T has asked us about the hospital passes in midfield. I think we've covered that, but it's a really interesting point, that one, and a real concern actually. Tractor Boy Pete, Joe, do you think the diamond midfield and 2 up top will work next season?
Yeah, because the only way we're going to get out of League One next year is if we score goals, and we're not going to be able to defend our way out of that, and we've got to score goals. And for me, if you want to score goals, you've either got to play 2 up front with 1 in behind, or you've got to play the 4-3-3 that Lambert is playing, but with wide strikers out wide, your Freddie Sears, your Jack Lancasters, your Caden Jacksons out there, not your Alan Judges, even your Guion Edwards or your Teddy Bishops or Idris El Mazouni, whoever else has played out there. They have got to be goal threats in the. You've got to have 3 goal threats on the pitch effectively, and hope your midfield brings some more as well.
Mm-hmm.
If we get it right next season and Judge plays in that role, potentially he's the best player in the league.
Yep,
he is.
But like I say, if you look at the team next year, if you could set it up, even with what we've got here of effectively Bart in goal, well, maybe fullbacks I'm still not convinced on, but Chambers and Enciala at the back, midfield 4 of, well, I'm not a huge fan of Scouse, but even if you had Scouse, Nolan, or even Nolan, Downs, Bishop, 3 of them, Judge in behind, even Jackson and Harrison, that team's gonna do okay in League One, and that's before we've added anything to it.
Yep. Tratsboy Pete also asks Dave how your golf handicap is coming on, and given it's the 3 of us on the pod, we can talk about golf. We could probably do a nice tangent on golf, but handicap all right, Dave?
Yeah, well, it's not, because I'm not playing comps at the moment. I'm just about to, because I've had this, obviously this, I don't know if I mentioned it before, this injury. I'd never talk about it. So at the moment, my handicap's like in suspension, has been sort of suspended. So I'm about to rejoin at the end of the month. So I'll let you know. But I've been practicing a bit recently, so hitting it
yeah.
Okay. I've got a game coming up in the summer with Julian Hughes. Jules,
nice.
He was a really good golfer. He used to play off about 2 or 3.
I think your handicap is his Twitter handle, isn't it?
Yeah. I think he's playing off a bit more than that now, but so that's something I look forward to. But me and you're Rich, we'll have to play.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Jules, don't let Dave play off 28 and give him 25 shots when you play him.
Dave, Nick R. Looks like Scouse had a good game yesterday. Which other players would you like to see tried in a different position?
Wow. I'd like to see Chambers on the bench.
I was going to say, who do you want to see on the bench?
Andre Dazelle as a deep line midfielder.
Yeah, that's a pretty good shout. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that would, whether it would be in League One, but yeah, get him playing that. You mentioned that Skews role, him playing and popping the ball off from there. I'm still not convinced he's up to that, but yeah, I'd like to see him. That would be a good idea. Have a shot at that, but no, other than that, no. Let's try and get some. Get some normality, I think, back in.
Joe, where Il Mazzini, we talked about being tried as a winger. What position is he best at, in your opinion?
Centre mid, isn't he, Joe?
Centre mid. Getting up. He's more attacking, but getting up and down the pitch probably as an 8, box to box midfielder. Okay. Legs can go all day.
Okay.
Will he play on Tuesday, Joe?
Yeah, he should do. Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't play yesterday. I thought he might even play for the 18s yesterday. He's still that young, but he was on the bench. I thought while they were up there, he might actually give him a better chance of winning the title yesterday. But
do you think because of our crapness in the last 3 games, which is why Ndaba hasn't got on?
Yeah. It would surprise me now. Saturday or Sunday is a dead rubber. Maybe they'll give him a game now.
Leeds will rest players for the playoffs, won't they, as well?
Imagine so.
I do hope they play Villa in the play.
We'll come back to that game from today a little bit later on. Dave, I'll come back to you. Let's hear a bit more from you. John Nolan, how much has John Nolan been a miss? This is from Portman Ginge, sorry. Over the last few games, was finding his feet just before his injury.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you see his influence, I think, at both games, certainly the West Brom game, and I think, Derby a little bit further back, but Bristol City as well. I think we've really missed his influence. He was just really starting to, you can say, you can see what Nolan's all about. He's got an eye for a goal. He's got an eye for a pass. He's 2-footed. And, of course, what happens, Ipswich being Ipswich, the season we're having, he's injured. And, he's probably... was he on the bench yesterday? I don't know. Was he on the bench yesterday?
No, he wasn't. No.
So I'd be
He's a midfielder that can get ahead of the ball.
Yeah,
absolutely. We haven't had many of them, have we?
No, absolutely right. And his goal, his goal at West Brom summed it up for me. Brilliant. Late run. We just haven't had that superb finish. No, I think he's been a big miss, and will be. Fingers crossed he stays fit. A big player for us next season, as he was for Shrewsbury in that division last season.
That's sort of a real positive of the latter part of the season, that we have managed to get a tune out of John Nolan, because he was looking like a signing that wasn't capable of stepping up.
Trading war, I agree. And I think if there's the one player that's made progress under Lambert, in Lambert's tenure, has certainly been him. Mark progress, in my opinion.
Yeah, Freddie Sears was one as well, but obviously, what happened to him?
What happens when you get into a bit of form? You get injured. Neil Wilmore at Fugly Cankles, just to call out the Twitter handle, that's great. Talks about 10 games into next season for judgment, and also about Will Keane's injuries. I think we've covered that, Neil, but I just wanted to call your Twitter handle out as well. Nathan Beals is the guy who's asked us about being critical. I think hopefully, Nathan, we've done all right in being critical today. I don't think we've
tried, Nathan. We've tried.
I'll try and get a little bit more out of everyone as well. Demetrius, January, Joe, was the first time I've seen Marcus Evans move decisively in the transfer market. Was this just a last-ditch attempt to keep us up, or has he realised that underfunding and selling each year without a long-term plan doesn't work? He's saying the right things, but do you believe it?
I don't believe... Well... It does feel that in Lambert we've got a manager that will challenge Evans as an owner, where I don't think Mick ever did challenge Evans as an owner. I think he was happy doing his own thing. He was comfortable in the job and able to have as free a reign as he could, and he was confident in his ability to get players in and late on in the windows and get him working into his maybe more simple system to play, where Hurst didn't really ever seem to have the clout for Evans, so everything was done too slowly. But Lambert, he did act quickly with Lambert, and hopefully that was a sign that Lambert is challenging him, and Lambert is trying to improve Evans from below, because I don't think Mick was ever doing that.
Seb Brown, this question for you, Dave, because we hear a lot from Joe on the quality of the academy and youth players. I just want to get your view on it. At what point does the sentimentality end? And we ask if our young players are good enough. Compare Kenlock and Emmanuel to Lewis and Aarons, and they're nowhere near. Are we kidding ourselves that this crop of youngsters will come good enough? Only Downs and Bishop look good enough to me.
I'd pretty much agree with that. I mean, I think maybe an unfair comparison. I mean, Lewis and Aarons have just been phenomenal, really. I mean, Aaron's had just come from absolutely I think he made his debut against Town, didn't he, back in September? That was his league debut, and ends up being EFL. Well, gets in the Championship Team of the Year, and also EFL Young Player of the Year, isn't he? I mean, unbelievable how those players have come through. So yeah, to compare with those two is tough. But no, Dizelle, look, for me, he hasn't shown it. How much? Perhaps we'll get on to Dizelle, because I've got a good analogy to make about that a bit later, when perhaps we speak a little bit, if we have to, about Norwich. But how much that injury, it's a massive injury, and miss a whole season at his age, how much that injury has affected him. mentally, it's tough to say, but he hasn't shown it for me. I'd like to see more of Nydam, because I think he's a good player in Nydam. We said before on the pod, very disappointing what's happened to him this season, gone backwards because he was shipped out. But yeah, Bishop and Downs, I see them as being, certainly more than capable of holding their own in League One, and being really, really top players in League One potentially. Fullbacks, I just don't know. I think Kenlock, but he's very inconsistent. And again, yesterday, perhaps a tough one to judge him on, given how they play. Emmanuel's one I want to see do really well, but he really hasn't shown it, has he, at all?
As football fans, particularly at Ipswich, where we want to see the youth players brought through, we are a bit over sentimental. Is that fair to say? We do want to see them.
I think we are. I mean, I think I saw a tweet earlier on that it's like, is it 1975? I think tomorrow or April 30th or something like that, when we won the FA Youth Cup. with teams where we all know players in that team, Osman and players like that, Johnny Walk. That's been the bedrock of the club. That always was the bedrock of the club, and a club like Ipswich, it always will be. And I've only seen the 18s, I think, once or twice this season, and from what I've seen, there's some real talent. And Joe knows far more than me. Real talent in that team, But it's just, as Joe said, it's making that progression from 18s to the 23s to the first team. Some of these boys have got to have some luck along the way, but they've got to be grounded and just be obviously coached well,
And they've got to be given a chance as well, because you look at Aaron's in what's his? I forgot the other one's name. Sorry,
Lewis.
Thank you. They've been given a chance, haven't they? They've been given a run of games. They've not been plucked out. Emmanuel, when he came in, was in one week and then out the other. He went had a 3-game run, had a mistake or was caught out. Lualo Brighton's the famous one we always come back to, and then he was gone the next week, wasn't he? And I think there's something to be said for that. Maybe League One is a better opportunity.
But
to do that.
Again, with someone like Aaron's coming in, like we said, he made his debut against Ipswich, and then, following that game, it just went on this unbelievable run. The team went on this unbelievable run. Pookie was scoring, they were scoring from everywhere. Pookie was scoring for fun. And it's easy. It's far easier for these youngsters to play in a winning team, a confident team, than coming in a youngster, who's in and out of the town side, coming into, getting a start in the town side now. He's on the back foot straight away.
Yeah, and I do think there's an element of some fans maybe not understanding what the academy is for, because you sort of have your blue chip prospects, the ones that you think are going to be your star players that are going to come in. Star's going to burn bright and they're going to come through. And I don't think Miles Kenlock or Josh Emmanuel have ever been seen as those sort of players. They're players that are going to come in, they're going to do a job, they might play 50, 60 games for the first team, and then they're probably going to leave and go down levels rather than up levels.
Luke Hines, case in point.
Where, like I say, when you compare Kenlock and Emmanuel to Lewis and Aaron's, well, Lewis was in the sort of full Northern Irish squad after about 2 games, and these are players that they're sort of the burning bright, the stars that burn bright. They come through the team, and if Norwich weren't going up this year, they'd be fighting off bids. In the same way that had Jack Lancaster stayed fit this year, that had Teddy Bishop stayed fit from his first season, had Dazelle, had Nine, had these guys got good runs in the team and played as they can play. There's a reason why they're in these England squads at youth levels, because they're technically very good players. They're good players, but players like your Miles Kenlocks, your Josh Emmanuels, even, and sort of without sort of prejudging players, your Corey Darbers, your Luke Wolfendens, even, these aren't guys that are going to come in the team and look the best player on the pitch like Kieran Dyer did when he came in. These are guys that are going to come in and be solid players for the football club.
But Joe, the sad thing about it is, for every one of that, for all those, you've got a Ben Knight or a Charlie Brown or players like that who are just going to be snapped up, and be sold.
Yeah, Ben Knight
even before they get anywhere near it.
Yeah, because Ben Knight was sold so far before he was near it, but Charlie Brown, like, he was behind Ben Morris in the pecking order. He was behind Ben Falami in the pecking order. But Ben Morris, and even last summer, Ben Morris was the one going away with England, while Charlie Brown has never been called up at that level. And it's just a case that Ben Morris, because we're Ipswich and not Chelsea, when he goes on loan to Forest Green, we can't say, if you don't play him, you need to send us £5,000 a week back. Because we don't have the clout to do that. We have to take what we can get in the loan market. So he goes there, wastes months of his season after looking sharp on the opening day against Blackburn, comes back here, and then he'd have got a chance by now this part of the season, and he's done his cruise shit in. And it's like I say, there's so much luck in, but I'm sure if you spoke to most of the people in the academy, they'd have backed Ben Morris ahead of Charlie Brown, and Charlie Brown leaving, while disappointing, wasn't a huge blow when you look to see who was ahead of him. He wasn't going to be starting week in, week out for the 23s. He wasn't a Ben Knight.
I saw someone throwing his name around earlier, saying that he could perhaps be a signing for us on loan next year.
He could be, yeah.
His family's
sure.
He's Zach Brown's brother, and his family is still
Ipswich
family or Felixstowe, wherever they
Felix,
are.
It would be nice to think that we've locked in terms that give us first refusal when they ever think of loaning him out. But
I know he'd love to come back here or Colchester, somewhere along this way for his family. But I don't think it's the right thing for us to be doing, to taking back a striker that we've already developed and lost to develop further and lose again.
Yeah, exactly right. Really interesting stuff, that, guys. Thank you for that. It's an interesting debate. Mullet, matching up the Blades yesterday. Was it a sign that Lambert is tactically inept, short of players, or a coincidence that he's realised it suits our squad too? Will we now see Scouse in the Hoddle at Swindon role from the early 90s, but with stabby interceptions, not raking 40-yard passes, which we talked about? Ben Bloom asks Dave Diamond to comment on Hoddle's playoff final goal. I'll ask you about the playoff final goal in a second, Dave, but Joe, thoughts on whether the tactical situation yesterday was, let me go back through what... tactically inept, short of players, or a coincidence that it fits the squad?
I think we matched up with Sheff United because they're such a unique team in this league, and a combination of being a unique team, very difficult to play against, and being short of players. We don't have the players to play any. We have no wide players fit at all. So you can't play 4-4-2. You can't play 4-3-3. You can't play 4-5-1. What other formations could you play at the moment?
Yep. So it's a bit of both, or a bit of all three, isn't it? Wanting to quote our colleague Dave Diamond. Dave Diamond, talk to us about this. Is this the one from the 4-3? Is this the back heel?
I think it was. But do you know what? I saw this earlier. I can't remember Hoddle's goal, and it's sad to say I can't. But what I can remember is a Hoddle performance at Portman Road for Swindon back in the early 90s when he played sweeper, and that was just sublime, absolutely sublime. And it was, balls were being pinged up to the foot. I don't even know who would have been playing up front for us then, and Hoddle would be basically just stepping off the forward as he mistimed his jump, just taking the ball on his chest, getting it down, putting his head up and pinging 40-yard diagonals left foot and right foot. He's absolute Rolls Royce. He got Swindon up, obviously. Unbelievable in that position. But I must admit, I big Hoddle fan. Probably one of my favourite ever players. I remember most of his goals, but can't recall that one in the playoff final. So I'll have to get Ben's take on that.
I went looking on YouTube. I think it was a back heel, and he just sweeps. He runs onto it and sweeps it into the corner. Starts the ball outside the post, and it comes back in. Here we go.
Let's have a look.
Oh, back heel. Sweeps it into the corner.
Just passes it in. Yeah, he's absolute class. I don't think I ever saw him score a scruffy goal, to be fair.
No. Classy player.
You said, have you seen the goal? It's his very last game for Spurs at home, I think, to Oxford before he goes to Monaco. Have you seen that goal? When he gets
the lob, is it?
No. He gets the ball and literally walks, because Huddle never had pace, but he literally walks through the Oxford defence. They're a bit square and they're pushing up, and it's a counter-attack, and he gets the ball in the centre of the park. I think he nutmegs one player, and it's just sort of running forward towards goal. I don't know how he does it, sort of the two centre-halves sort of converge. He just puts the ball between them, runs alongside. He's one-on-one with the keeper and just drops his shoulder. The keeper just falls over, and he walks around him and literally walks it in. He's fabulous. What a player. Criminally only 50-odd caps for England.
I'm going to enjoy seeing Cole Scouse play the Glenn Hoddle role next season then. Can't wait for those. Jack's Larder, Dave. I was watching yesterday and just couldn't decide if we were really bad or the Blades were really good. I asked you this question because I think I know what your answer is going to be, but your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we really good. So if we matched them up and went, man for man and matched them up, it just showed the golfing quality. We just couldn't get nowhere near the quality they've got. Say the quality, on the day the quality they've got.
And the way that they know what they're doing, the pattern of play they have, that's the key, isn't it?
It's a continuity. Look, they barely made. Okay, did you say who came in for Craney yesterday?
Basham
came in for, but it's only these are little tweaks to the side, little tweaks. It's been the core of the side all season. All right, Sharp, it was very much like for like yesterday. Sharp was out. bloody Hogan was in, for Christ's sake. I mean, I don't know, what's he on, 30, 40 grand a week, something like that. Yeah, that's there's a difference right there, really.
Joe, Alex Pryke asked, a lot of frustration and questioning his start over the last few weeks. Do you think everyone involved with the club will simply needs the end of the season and 6 weeks off to reset and forget before a clean slate? I think we've covered this a bit. Do you think it's possible to have a clean slate? I think that's more my slant on this question. Can you forget what's happened this season? It's going to be tough, isn't it? Just to forget how to lose each week.
Well, if we come back in pre-season, we've got the majority of our transfer business done before the first day of pre-season, and we're just tweaking the squad from there. We've got patterns of play. We go through pre-season, we start the next season well. People will be looking forwards, not backwards. If we are still doing deals right up to the end of August, we're scrapping around in mid-table, people will be judging Lambert on last year as well as next year, which difficult to say they won't.
Early exit from the Checkatrade Trophy.
Yeah. And the League Cup as always as well, yeah. I just feel that there's a pressure building there on the start of next season that...
Oh, massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
This is the issue where when we had that run of draws, I know there were only draws, but it was still a positive when we had the 7 draws in 9. Had we continued that sort of form through to the end of the season, there'd have been a lot less pressure next year. But because the season has just gone to absolute shit over the last few games, as poor as it was, it's really... just crashed the last few games. Every game we lose, the pressure for next year is increasing and increasing and increasing. And Lambert making all these changes and no continuity and poor performances and lack of goals and poor results is really cranking the pressure up on him next year, that he's got so little margin for error when that season starts.
We'll end on a couple. We've had a load of questions on a similar theme, so thank you to everyone. Sorry that we can't read all of them out. Just a couple more. Let's see if I can find it, having scrolled away from it. Tim Donovan, assuming Plymouth survive, they are close to it's one more game, isn't it? In trouble there. But when you come down next season, will you wash your pasty down with St Austell Tribute, Rock Brewery Doombar, or Dartmoor Brewery Jail Ale? Local cider is an acceptable alternative, but lager is definitely most not. Gents, what are you having with your Cornish pasty?
I quite like a Doombar.
I'm a fan of a Doombar. Dave, you're a lager.
Do you know, I might go for the St Austell, but I might go for the St Austell Brewery because there's a hotel we go down there down St Austell sometimes. So Carlisle Bay, yeah, nice. So yeah, I'd probably go for some of that.
Excellent stuff. And I've got one more question. Justin Crane, given I talked about Avengers Endgame already today, after this season, what superpowered Ipswich-based superhero Portman have? I vote for the ability to psychically control tractors at inappropriate times. Gentlemen, your Ipswich Town-based superhero's superpower, what is it? Keeping a clean sheet, scoring a goal? I mean, it's not much to ask, is it? Yeah,
sort of just simple, basic stuff, I think. Yeah, it's not exactly superpower, is it?
To not have a ticklish, soft underbelly.
Nice. Very good. Thank you for all the questions. Loads of good stuff in there. Again, apologies that we didn't have time to read them all, but a lot of them of a similar theme. And hopefully, Nathan, you've had a good enough rant from Joe and Dave. I think they've done their best there. And we'll blame everyone. Everyone at the club is to blame. Clean slate in August, hopefully, and we'll move on from there. Let's do the roundup. Let's start at the top, shall we? And Cobbold Massive caught me out a little bit by saying we've obviously given Sheffield United a big up for securing promotion today rather than after the game because of mathematics and all that kind of stuff. But Norwich 2-1 winners against Blackburn, Stiepermann and Vrancic with long range goals. Cobbold Massive says we need to give them credit, mustn't we? It's a decent story from Norwich. It hurts that it's them, but
polar opposite to us. Absolute polar opposite to us.
They've had a plan and they've stuck to it.
Structure from top to bottom, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But I was thinking about this earlier, but Christ, they got some luck. They got some luck last season. So last season, you listened to the pod, and it was just me and Ben pretty much last season. And I don't know if you listen to it, and we used to say, how's Norwich done? And invariably last season, well, Christ, they finished below us. And we'd say, oh, they drew, or oh, no, Norwich lost again. And Ben would say, oh, no, that's another little tear in the parachute, another little hole in the parachute, something like that need patching up. And my God, did they strike lucky with Maddison last year. They would have been without him. And when you compare it to us last year, so, just say, for instance, first day of the season, last season, Dazelle does his crew shirt. Dazelle, Gisele's fine. Maddison does his, for argument's sake, first game of the season last year. I mean, Maddison came from nowhere, really, didn't he? Coventry
and he had an Aberdeen loan spell, and
Aberdeen loan spell, but Coventry came absolutely nowhere. As an unbelievable season, Christ, in the England squad, for God's sake, and they sell him for what, 28? Is it 28 million?
25.
Which 25, 28, which paves the way for them to buy. I mean, and
Murphy goes for big money as well. I think
Murphy goes for money. I mean, and what I think you can't underestimate this Stuart Webber guy, this director of football guy. My God, what a job he's done! And and if also he's also obviously in charge of recruitment as well. Unbelievable. I mean, and it just showed on the EFL show last night. The transfer fees these players. I mean, Pookie, free transfer, was probably third choice striker at the start of the season. Buendia, what? Under 2 million, something like that. I mean, honestly, I was having to look away when all these figures were coming. I was saying, I can't take any more of this. This is just ridiculous.
Yeah, but I heard from someone who would know that some of these Germans coming over are on we're on like £800 a week, like nothing. These were players like Steepman was plucked from like the third or fourth tier, which is some of them regional, and they're like regional leagues as well. They're not. It's not like the fourth division. That's like
Bostic.
There's like 6 or something third divisions and 20 fourth divisions. So you're in absolutely nowhere. And like I say, fair play to them. They did it. And like I say, Fark looked like he was on his way out when we played him. Had we beaten him, I think he'd have been a game from the sack. And what would have happened then?
If you'd have said anyone had said that day after that game that this was how the season would finish, you'd have never ever would have believed it.
It's the same. In the last 15 years, we have bottled so many chances of promotion, and anytime something that could happen, we always manage to come out the wrong side of it.
Yep.
Whenever they've had a sniff of promotion for the last 15 years, they have gone up every single time.
I mean, look at 2014-15. When we didn't do the business in January, then Alex Neil, we just went on this winning streak, got into the playoffs, obviously beat us, got up. Yeah. We look for all the world, we're going to go up automatically until the turn. I mean, your Joe's right. Every time they've got a sniff,
they're a little bit more ruthless than us, aren't they? I think that strategy off the pitch. They made more money for their transfer deals.
Money for their transfer deal. And look, fantastic football. You've got to admire it. The football they played at Bray. I mean, look at the goals last night. The Vrancic goal and goals like that. He's another one. They plucked him from nowhere. Unbelievable. And look, I hate. It really sticks in the throat to say it, but brilliant to them. Deserved. Absolutely.
But it's like when they went to League One, they were. Delia has no money; she doesn't know what to do, and all of a sudden Lambert, and then 18 months later in the Premier League, it's just crazy. And but they've always appointed a CEO like David McNally or Stuart Webber. Now they've always appointed someone, even when they had Ed Balls in before to try and turn it around. They've spent money bringing in someone to run the football club, and we'd never. Well, when we had Derek Bowden here, he was a proper CEO and managed to help us to get it there, but since Evans has been here, he has not appointed anyone to run the football club properly.
And look where we are now.
And even the people that he's appointed, he hasn't given the authority or the responsibility to run the football club.
Oh, they're corporate as well, aren't they? They're corporate though, aren't they? Milne and Clegg. At least Clegg had a bit of sporting pedigree to him, but not football. And Milne was a corporate appointment, wasn't he? He was a lawyer, I think.
But Milne's job role isn't given to him to be on the football side. So while we can criticise him as a CEO, at the end of the day, he's managing the sales teams. He's not managing anything to do with football.
Yeah. So my point is, my point is more that if you want a figurehead like Milne to be the face of the club, he should be doing the football side of it. There's no point in having a glorified commercial manager who's kind of the focal point of the club. And I think that was the biggest problem when people have called Evans out since day one. And I did it in that I was going to talk about sliding doors. The 1-1 draw against Norwich is the sliding doors moment for the whole season for both of us. But that's the biggest mistake is Clegg and then Milne, and it's not having someone like Stuart Webber or David McNally, as you say, Joe. And it's catching up with us, and hopefully Lee O'Neill might be able to bring some of that next season. But
I mean, how much autonomy he'll have, how much responsibility he'll be allowed is debatable. But at least he comes from a football background.
Let's move it on. Congratulations, Norwich. Good luck next season.
Yeah.
You'll need to sign some defenders and a better goalkeeper. Is all I've got to say about that. Leeds.
Not that we're bitter.
See you next August in the Championship.
This is Dave. I'll let you talk through this one because you weren't watching Peppa Pig while this was happening.
No, I wasn't. Go on.
Leeds 1, Aston Villa 1, or in theory it should be Leeds 0, Aston Villa 0.
Unbelievable.
Crazy moment in the second half. Do you want to talk to us about this?
Oh my God, I'm not sure. Yeah, and I watching it from a bit. I wasn't watching it. Boys were watching it. Said, "Dad, you've got to come in and watch this." So I'm not even sure who the guy who was it who went down injured
Codger,
in the first place.
I think.
It was a Codger.
Yeah.
So Codger gets down injured, takes a nasty one, and so basically Villa players stop, and the Leeds players pretty much stop. For the ball to be kicked out, and the ball sort of kicked out wide. I think is it Calvin Phillips? Is it Phillips?
Possibly down the left hand side. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, down the left hand side. Who it's just hilarious.
I think was it Tyler Roberts? Maybe I think.
Maybe it was Robert. I can't remember. Yeah. Maybe it was Roberts who basically takes control of the ball and basically doesn't pay any heed to what's going on behind him. Just sets off for goal, and by which time, to be fair, the Villa players then sort of half-heartedly react to him. He cuts inside, good finish in the corner, although Villa keeper doesn't really make an effort, and then breaks loose. He basically turns around to celebrate the goal. Conor Hourihane's got him by the
throat. Got the neck, yeah.
Mate, and it all kicks off. Bamford looks like he's been given a forearm smash, but there's no contact at all. He'll get banned. Bamford should get banned for that. That is crap.
Well, Gazi gets a red card for it, doesn't he?
Gazi gets a red card. That surely should be rescinded because, all right, there was pushing and shoving at Bamford. I hate Bamford anyway, and hopefully he'll get his just desserts there. But then, to be fair, Bielsa does the right thing, and Bielsa insists that, look, Villa kick off, two of them kick off, and off they go and level it up. And it's funny. So the Villa players kick off, and they're passing it between them, and they go down the pitch to score, and the Leeds defence moves out of the way. Other than Pontius Janssen.
He's not having it.
It looks like he's trying to make a tackle. I think he's trying to make a tackle.
Intercept it.
I wish. What the hell would have happened had he made that tackle? I would have loved to have seen that. But fortunately, he makes a lunge and misses it, and they walk the ball in. But it's the funniest thing.
I mean, it went on for 2 minutes, and you've got Bielsa bellowing at his team, shouting, "Give the goal, give the goal, give the goal!" And Janssen goes to tackle it. It's brilliant.
It is hilarious. Ben was there, wasn't he? Ben was there, of course. So we'll perhaps get that first hand. But oh God, you couldn't make that up. But it was hilarious.
Do you reckon the Villa players need to work out who's on the biggest goal bonus to who sticks it in the net?
Yeah. I wonder.
And let's face it. Look how it's set up now. I mean, if West Brom, conceivably could basically overtake Leeds now, and it could well be Leeds and Villa, 4th and 5th.
Well, the final's more likely to be Leeds and Villa, isn't it? I reckon.
Well, sorry, I forgot they're playing next week. Sorry, of course, yeah.
I mean,
I did overlook that. Christ, what am I thinking of?
I wonder whether Janssen had a clean sheet bonus as well that he was trying to protect as well. Maybe so. I'll go through the rest of these scores. Call out anything you want. Let me start with the most important game in terms of the playoff race, which was Bristol City 0, Derby 2. Frank Lampard's Derby sorted themselves out.
Good result.
That's result. Decent, and
Derby go to Swansea on Wednesday, and if they win that, barring a mad goal difference turnaround, Derby winning in against Swansea.
Yeah,
there'll be nothing. There'll be nothing to play for on the last day of the season if Derby beat Swansea on Wednesday at all.
Because otherwise they'd level on points with Borough at the moment, because Borough beat Reading 2-1. At home.
But again, look at Derby. What I noticed about Derby yesterday, and he hasn't been playing. Look, they had centre mid yesterday, Tom Huddlestone. I mean, what a player to bring in a game like that, all that experience. Shows the depth in squad, really.
Yep. Millwall 0, Stoke 0. So Millwall sort themselves out there, and I guess that was the most predictable 0-0 you could have got the day. Birmingham 1, Wigan 1. Bolton, Brentford postponed. Not postponed definitively. It will be played, but it will be played with under 18s at a point after. There's a moratorium period, isn't there? After an under 18s fixture for welfare reasons, the under 18s can't play again. But the EFL are going to make Bolton play the fixture at some point at the earliest opportunity. What a joke this is, gentlemen.
I think there's a very real chance that Bolton are going to start next season on minus 12 points in the League One. So. Which is good for us.
It means we'll be 10th rather than 11th.
Yeah, you'd think so. There's got to be some comeback there. That can't just be let go.
Preston North End 3, Sheffield Wednesday 3. Preston were 3-1 up in this game, and Sheffield Wednesday came back. Goals from Bannon again. Forest area, Nuhu, our good friend Nuhu, got an assist as well.
David Giant.
That game. QPR 0, Forest 1. Again, these kind of mid-table teams who won the beach. Swansea's playoff dreams were totally ended yesterday with a draw 2-2 to Hull. We've talked about West Brom 2, Rotherham 1. Rotherham took the lead in this one, gave themselves hope, but that defeat relegates them, which I guess is to be expected, but probably of all the 3 teams going down, they're in the best situation to come back, do we think?
Rotherham.
They haven't increased their budget massively from when they're at that level. They'll go down, and they've still got a lot of the players there.
And the manager's well thought of. The manager's, Paul Warne's really well thought of. I think he's got a lot of credit there.
And they won't be losing.
They know how they play as well.
Yeah.
And that's that. That's the fixtures from yesterday, I think, gentlemen. And then league table, we talked about all the business done. Norwich and Sheffield United now promoted. Leeds, West Brom, Villa, all sorted for the playoffs, and it's Derby or Borough for that last spot. And down the bottom, it's Rotherham, Bolton, and our good selves, who will be playing League One next season. That is that. Anything to add on the Football League stuff, Jen, before we get onto the CV game? Any rants or moans that you haven't had an opportunity yet?
Don't know.
I'm just disappointed that Southend look likely to go down. They're one place outside the relegation zone, but they've got Sunderland at home, and Scunthorpe and Plymouth, who are level on points and 1 point behind them, play each other next week. So one of those is going to likely win, or even if they both draw. Southend need something against Sunderland, who... It's going to be a tough game.
And maybe they'll be in playoff mode, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe they'll get a chance there. But
yeah, it's a bit of a nothing game. It was Sunderland 1, Portsmouth 1 yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, Sunderland have got another game in the week. If they win that, they can still catch the top 2, I think.
Yeah, Luton blew it yesterday.
League One's tough, though, isn't it? It's a lot of
Oh mate, Luton were 1 up at Burton, weren't they, and lost 2-1. So yeah, they blew it a bit yesterday.
I think Luton might miss out now. They've got Oxford.
Seriously?
They've got Oxford, who are on the last day, who are in good form. They're level on points with Barnsley, and if Portsmouth win in midweek against Fleetwood, I think they're only 1 point behind. So
for Luton
are going to need to win against Oxford on the last day.
That's tough for them. Yeah,
drama in League One. Who'd have thought it'd have come to the Blue Monday podcast talking about League One football, eh? There you go. Joe, do you want to finish us off with a positive? Let's do the CV game.
Go on, finish it off. Go on, Joe, finish us off, mate.
The new evolved CV game.
Misery.
Okay. Well, the theme for this week is high-profile strikers of championship chases, and I couldn't be bothered to do Timu Pukki, so that's why I said high-profile. So there's a different one there instead. But Dave can go first on this one, but the first player is one of his favourite all-time players, Patrick Bamford. who has played for 9 clubs.
I'm rubbish at this now, I think. Hang on, wait a minute. Oh man, I'm stuck with it. Okay.
Cool, I'm struggling with this one as well.
I'll go 5.
Oh, I'll let you go for it. I've only got 3.
Bamford, I would go. What do I think? I think he played for Norwich.
He did.
Norwich, Norwich, Borough, Leeds, Derby, Chelsea.
Yeah, that is 5. The other clubs he's had, he started at Nottingham Forest, where he made a couple of appearances before signing for Chelsea. Had a loan at MK Dons, a loan at Derby, a loan at Borough, a loan at Palace, a permanent signing, I think, to Borough at that point, and then a loan to Norwich, a loan to Burnley, and then a permanent to Leeds.
Oh, I don't remember that. The loan to Norwich was in the Premier League, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think he scored, yeah.
No. Okay, second, so Rich to go first on this one is Billy Sharp, who's played for eight clubs.
Oh, man.
Oh, I'm going to struggle with this one as well. Billy Sharp. Oh, why didn't I know that? I've only got 2 so far. Can you do better than 2, Dave?
I could go 4 for Billy Sharp.
Oh, go on then.
Okay, 4.
Doncaster, Scunthorpe, Leeds, Sheffield United.
Oh, Leeds.
Yeah. All correct. The other 4 clubs are Russian and Diamonds, Southampton, Nottingham Forest, and Reading.
God, I don't remember any of those.
So, Rich, you're just playing for pride. You're playing for pride here, but Dave
relegated and
it is Jordan Rhodes.
Okay. Wait a minute. How many's he had?
9.
Has he? I reckon you'll get me on this one. Hang on. Who's he playing for now? Hang on. Who did we sell him to? Oh yeah. Hang on. All right. Okay. No, I'm struggling. I'll go 4.
I'll go 5.
5.
Go on,
Dave. Can you go with 6?
Jordan Rhodes. Oh, hang on. I'm struggling for one more. Wait a minute, give me.
I might be able to go 6 as well. If that puts me over the top.
Hang on, hang on, wait a minute. One more. Jordan Rhodes.
I've upped my bid to 6.
Oh, you've done it 6. Yeah, go on then. Yeah, go for it.
Here we go. Let's see if I can do them in order as well. Ipswich, Huddersfield. I'm not sure about one of them, so I'll come back to them. Brentford.
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
Norwich.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough.
Yeah, that is 6. The other 3. So he started at Ipswich and he had loan spells from Ipswich at Oxford, Rochdale and Brentford. Then he signed for Huddersfield. Then he signed for Blackburn. Then he signed for Borough. Had a loan spell at Sheffield Wednesday. And then a permanent to Sheffield Wednesday. And then Norwich.
And he'll be looking for a championship club next season probably as well.
We'll see.
Somewhere around by year. Yeah, you will be.
Excellent. Another 2-1 win for Dave. If we're going to do this next season, we need a league table, I think. Or we need some kind of fixtures, and you get 3 points for a win and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you for sorting that out. That was great fun, as always, and I've lost again. So, yeah, I need to sort my game out on that. Let's do some plugs, and then we'll say goodbye to everyone. This week in ICFC history is out there. It's 1 hour, 43 minutes long.
In hindsight, perhaps we should have split the show in 2 and had 2 shows out of 1. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was out today. Thanks for that. Thanks for your help on that, Rich.
And there was suggestions there might be another one before the end of the season as well. But
who knows with stat? Who knows? The stat's down to stat, that one.
See if we can get the games out. And Dave, your Twitter, where can we find you?
David Diamond 3.
Excellent. And Joe, you will be at the game presumably on Tuesday night.
Yep, I'll be there against Birmingham, tweeting from ITFC_Academy.
And your business as usual account is
at Joe Fairs.
Joe Fairs, excellent stuff.
I might come down Tuesday. Yeah, I might come Tuesday. And obviously, I think we should put it out there. We've got a big Blue Monday night out next Saturday night.
Yeah, are we going to reveal the location, or we're going to keep it a secret location?
If you see a debauched load of guys in Woodbridge next Saturday, lager, sometimes cider.
Sometimes
Come over. The drinks will be on me, in me.
Be on me. Come over. Yeah, I don't know if there is a Jokers in Woodbridge, is there?
Yep, he does a good pie at the Gardener's Arms. We'll go there. So you can find us out and about in Woodbridge next weekend. You can also find us at Blue Monday ITFC. I'm sure we'll share a photo at least of someone embarrassing themselves next week. And you can find me at Ipswich. Me and the brilliant Harry from Bath will be back for the last time this season.
One to go.
Talk about Leeds and how they've fallen apart again. Before we play them on Sunday, and we'll wrap up with the flagship show. And I am confident, though I'm not going to be 100% confident, that Mr. Bloom will be back in the host's chair, and I'm pretty confident that I won't be back either. So if you are bored of hearing my voice, you won't need to hear me again. I hope that maybe one of the two of these guys will be back again, but I really enjoyed today. Thank you for your ranty moments, gentlemen. I think it was long overdue. I think we've been holding back in and trying to be positive, but we could do that no longer, and maybe see you next week. And have a good week.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
See you later.
Even better back to Stewart. Oh, he turns the defender sweetly. Round the goalkeeper and scores a magnificent